Hi, Rushrecap here. Today I am going to explain a movie called Black Friday. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The movie opens in a bustling retail store, Walmart, on the eve of the Black Friday shopping frenzy. The store is brimming with activity as preparations are underway for the massive sales event. Monty, a store employee, climbs a set of stairs to hang a promotional banner above the shelves. Suddenly, something bizarre crashes into the store, creating a hole in the roof. The impact is so intense that Monty immediately abandons his task and rushes to investigate. What he finds is a grotesque blob of flesh splattered across the floor. The blob seems alive, and as Monty cautiously approaches it, it splits open to reveal a terrifying parasite with a mouth-like opening. Before he can react, the parasite spits a toxic white liquid, and Monty's scream echoes through the store as he's killed, splattered on the walls by the horrific attack. Meanwhile, across town, Ken Bates, a toy store employee, visits his ex-wife's home to drop off his two daughters before heading to his shift at the We Love Toys store. His ex-wife has remarried, and though her new husband is a decent man, the daughters complain that their parents are boring. They long to spend more time with Ken. However, Ken's shift on Thanksgiving night prevents him from being with them. Although he pays for their house, he feels the sting of being separated from his daughters. After leaving them, Ken drives to pick up his co-worker, Chris Goddess, who still lives with his parents. His father constantly belittles him, but despite this, Chris and Ken share a strong friendship that helps ease the pain of their tiring work life. On their way to the store, they pass by Walmart, a major retail chain that is closed on this important day, unaware that the store has been infected by the parasite from earlier. At the We Love Toys store, a long line of eager customers is waiting for the doors to open. Among them, a husband and wife wait to buy toys for their children. The man appears unwell, complaining of stomach pain, but his wife insists they cannot afford to lose their spot in line. Inside, Ken and Chris, along with several other co-workers, prepare to open the store. Ken exchanges banter with Moni, a co-worker, and it becomes clear they share a close relationship, though it's not entirely clear whether it's romantic. Meanwhile, Bircher, another employee, steps outside to smoke, and notices a jelly-like blob attached to a car in the parking lot. Curiosity leads him to lean in closer, but he accidentally locks himself out of the store. When he tries to bang on the door to get back inside, something horrific attacks him from behind, killing him in a brutal fashion. Back inside the store, the employees are informed they will not be receiving paid breaks for the night, further souring their mood about having to work on Thanksgiving. Among them is the new employee Emmett, who is paired with Ken for the shift. The doors open, and a horde of customers floods the store, frantically grabbing toys. The staff quickly becomes overwhelmed as they try to manage the chaotic scene. Chris is the first to deal with an angry customer, and as he stocks a box of toys, he finds a strange, gooey substance. Meanwhile, Marnie notices an elderly man staring at her from across the store, unsettling her, though she brushes it off. As the chaos continues, a grumpy old lady sits in Santa's chair, unaware of the growing danger beneath her. The parasite from earlier has found a new host in the store and is multiplying. Things escalate quickly when a different employee, Archie, is sent to clean up what he believes is vomit, only to realize that it's a liquid secreted by the parasite. Some of the customers have already been infected, transforming into monstrous, mutated creatures. Chris is tasked with cleaning up the mess, but he is ambushed by these infected customers. He manages to fend them off by using toy boxes as weapons, but things only get worse. Archie, confused by the scene, informs the floor manager, who dismisses the whole ordeal. When Chris tries to explain that the customers attacked him first, no one believes him, and he is locked in the storage room as punishment. Meanwhile, outside, Emmett is attacked by a mutated woman who spits the same white goo that infected Monty earlier. Ken saves him just in time, and the two rush to warn the other employees. However, when they try to call the police, the lines are busy. Despite the escalating chaos, the store manager insists that the store stay open, believing his employees are simply being lazy and not working hard enough. Emmett suddenly collapses, having a seizure as he begins to mutate into a grotesque creature. Cashier Anita tries to help him, but she is killed when Emmett violently attacks her. He transforms fully into a monster, and the remaining employees are forced to fight for their lives. Archie manages to fend him off with a nail gun, pushing Emmett out of the store. Desperate, The employees attempt to call for help from a neighboring store, only to discover that their situation is equally dire. The lady on the other end of the phone urges them to separate the healthy customers from the infected ones, but before they can act, the line cuts off, and it becomes apparent that the other store has been overtaken by mutants as well. The group decides to retreat to the sales floor, hoping to find a safe haven. The manager, still obsessed with sales, argues against their decision, but the rest of the employees shut him down. As the infected customers begin to overrun the store, the group manages to close the main entrance, buying them time to flee to the storage room in the back. Ken takes a brief moment to sneak into the bathroom and search for a hidden bottle of whiskey. The store manager, also in the bathroom, questions what he's doing. Before Ken can answer, a mutated customer bursts out from one of the stalls and attacks him. Together, Ken and the manager manage to fight off the mutant and escape outside. Meanwhile, Marnie watches through the store's security cameras and sees the mutants gathering around the Santa World section. She goes outside to investigate and discovers that the mutants are merging into a giant parasite, growing larger by the minute. In a panic, she runs back inside and alerts the others. They quickly secure all the doors to prevent more infected customers from entering the store. Relief comes momentarily when a police car is spotted heading toward the store, but their hopes are dashed when the car crashes straight through the store's front entrance, allowing the mutants to flood inside. The employees scramble to escape, but Chris is grabbed by a female mutant. Archie tries to help but is infected by the goo and mutated himself. As he dies, he urges Chris to escape while he fights for his life. In a horrific moment, a massive mutant rips Archie apart and devours him. The remaining employees flee to the back of the store, but Emmett, now fully transformed, follows them. The group, desperate to survive, manages to kill Emmett with a steel wrench, but their survival is increasingly uncertain. With only the manager, Ken, Brian, Chris, and Marnie left, they face the grim reality of being trapped inside the store. The power goes out, forcing them to use glowing toys to light their way. A moment of relief comes when Marnie brings out a turkey from the fridge, and the group shares a meal together. However, their temporary joy is shattered when Chris and Ken get into a heated argument. Chris belittles Ken for his job at the toy store and for dating Marnie, who is half his age. Marnie, to everyone's surprise, reveals that she isn't dating Ken, which deeply hurts him. In frustration, Ken decides to leave the store, convinced that there's no point in staying any longer. The group formulates a plan to escape through the loading dock, hoping to use a truck to flee from the mutants. As they make their way to the dock, Emmett, now stronger than before, reanimates and attacks the group. A brutal struggle ensues, and Ken manages to knock Emmett out, but he is bitten in the process. The others try to save him, but Ken insists they stay away, fearing he will turn into a mutant and infect them. With heavy hearts, the group is forced to leave him behind. They manage to open the loading dock door and escape into a nearby truck. Meanwhile, Ken, locked inside the loading dock, waits for the inevitable transformation. However, to his surprise, he remains unaffected. In a final desperate act, Ken fights off a mutated woman by distracting her with a stuffed toy. He hides behind shelves, using traps to keep her at bay. Back in the truck, Chris panics when he sees a horde of mutants charging toward them. He tries to start the truck, but his lack of knowledge about how it works leaves him stranded. The group returns to the store, hoping to find another way out. They reach the roof, only to face another problem. The parasite inside the store is pushing its way through the vents in the ceiling. The manager, frustrated beyond measure, delivers a heartfelt speech about his disdain for customers before he leaps into the vent to confront the parasite. Back inside the store, Ken uses rollerblades to navigate the aisles and evade a mutated woman who relentlessly pursues him. He sets up distractions and traps but is eventually cornered. In a surprising turn of events, Ken manages to hit her with his roller skates and escapes. On the roof, Brian reveals that he was the one who bit Ken, not a mutant. He had harbored a deep hatred for Ken for years and used the opportunity to get rid of him. Enraged, Marnie attacks Brian, and during the ensuing struggle, they both fall off the roof. Miraculously, Marnie survives the fall but is severely injured. Meanwhile, Ken, still on his rollerblades, manages to narrowly escape a mutant's deadly grasp by sliding through tight spaces and using his quick reflexes. However, he realizes that his time is running out, and the effects of the parasite infection are beginning to take hold. Back in the store, the situation deteriorates further. The parasite continues to spread, with more and more employees and customers succumbing to its influence. Chris, who has grown increasingly unstable due to the chaos, starts to question his own sanity and whether he too might have been infected. In a tense moment, he attacks the manager, suspecting him of trying to deceive the group about their chances of survival. The manager, desperate to maintain some form of control, retaliates, but his actions only deepen the division within the group. The survivors are left with few options. As the parasite mutates and consumes everything in its path, they realize that the store may be their only chance for survival, but the price is high. The building becomes a maze of mutant-infested areas, with the survivors forced to move carefully through the aisles, avoiding detection and trying to stay ahead of the constantly evolving threat. Ken, still reeling from the earlier betrayal and his growing sense of isolation, eventually finds Marnie, who has managed to crawl to safety after her fall. They share a brief moment of connection, but the grim reality of their situation sets in. They realize that their only hope is to destroy the parasite before it fully takes over, but the only way to do so is by confronting it head-on. As the survivors rally for a final stand against the parasite, a massive confrontation unfolds inside the store. The mutants are everywhere, and the group must fight not only for their own lives but for the chance to stop the parasite from spreading further. They work together, using whatever weapons they can find, from toy guns to store tools, in an effort to hold their ground. In the final moments, it becomes clear that their battle is not just against the parasite, but against the sense of hopelessness that has consumed them. With the store in flames and the building collapsing around them, the group realizes that survival is not guaranteed. However, in a twist of fate, Ken manages to destroy the parasite, sacrificing himself in the process to ensure the safety of the others. His death is a somber reminder of the cost of survival. As the surviving members of the group make their way out of the store, they are met by the authorities who have finally arrived. The police and medical teams quickly take over, assessing the damage and treating the survivors. But as the camera pans out, it becomes clear that the parasite's influence may not be entirely eradicated, hinting at a possible sequel or lingering threat. The film ends with a note of bittersweet victory, as the survivors reflect on the horrors they endured and the relationships they forged during the chaos. Despite their harrowing ordeal, they are left to wonder what the future holds in a world forever changed by the monstrous forces they faced. Thanks for watching our recap of Black Friday. What a crazy ride, right? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on our next recap. Let us know what you thought about the movie in the comments. We'd love to hear your take. This is Rushrecap, where we break down all your favorite shows and movies. See you in the next one.